first person that I see is Bill Gates saying that, well, nothing's going to be back to normal unless you get a needle in your arm. Well, who the fuck's Bill Gates?
Exactly.
Okay?
Is he a doctor?
So I think he slept at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So
that's like kind of the irony here is that we were told, for several years to trust the science and to listen to people who actually practice medicine. And you're a man of science and you practice medicine. You're a surgeon. So I would think that your opinion would have more weight than Bill Gates, who's like some autistic rich guy who was really close to Jeffrey Epstein. What does he have to do with this?
Well, and not only that, but why not even more credence than, and I'm not saying that I have any more, I'm no more of an expert than anybody else is from the standpoint of being a doctor, okay? But why are some doctors being shut off and some are not?
Well, if that's
look, Anthony Fauci never took care of a patient in his life, okay? He did his residency at the NIH. He did his training at the NIH.
He's a federal bureaucrat.
And he's a bureaucrat, okay? Deborah Birx, the same way. I mean, she did some stuff in the military, but I think she was all administrative, never took care of patients. And so all of a sudden, we're supposed to trust these people that never been on the front lines, never took care of patients, have never seen an illness, are just looking at it from the standpoint of reading a book or reading an article or listening to some podcast or listening to some, going to some meetings or something like that. Okay. And all of a sudden these are, kind of like the media proclaimed experts on all this. I'll tell you, before 2020, I'd been in practice exactly 19 years, okay? So let's count medical school. I graduated from medical school in 1993, all right? And then from 1993 to 2020, I had been to the CDC website to ask them advice on what I needed to do for my practice exactly 0 times, okay? 0. There's never any reason for anybody, at least my perspective, to go to the CDC. I'm reading articles. I'm listening to my colleagues. I'm talking to, I go to meetings. I kind of review cases with some of my friends and some of my colleagues about certain things, but I've never gone to the CDC.
So a practicing physician trying to keep current with the science would have which you're apparently doing, would have no reason to consult CDC.
No, none. There's nothing that the CDC is going to put out that is informative to me. Now, maybe they put out stuff for maybe some pediatricians or family practice docs that maybe they follow or something like that I guess. Well,
they're liars. I mean, they can't even admit that Lyme was a bioweapon, okay, which is very obvious to anyone who pays any attention at all. And all these, so they're liars. So they're just discredited, I would say, right there.
Well, and you mentioned, you just made me think about something, and now I can't think about it. I can't remember what I was.
Because you're making.
One of the very first articles that was even put out on the CDC website about COVID, said that of all the people that had supposedly died of COVID, okay, only 6% of them did not have a comorbidity, meaning that only 6% of the people that they claimed had died from COVID actually died just with COVID.
Right. And the rest were in like a motorcycle accident or had stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Right. Or had 2 other comorbidities. The average comorbidity was 2.2. So in other words, they had 2 other diseases that were going on at the same time.
Just happen to have advanced COPD
and heart disease or diabetes or morbid obesity or something along those lines. And then they died of COVID. The real answer is they may have died with COVID. Okay. But they probably died from something else, and you mentioned that.
Well, but I mean, okay, so you're the professional science guy. If you catch someone lying, I mean, that like invalidates everything else, doesn't it?
It should.
I mean, lying is the one thing that's not allowed in science. It's science. The process is designed to be for honesty, right? For clarity. Like we can't lie about anything. I thought that was the whole point of science.
Yeah. So the whole point of science is not to lie, and the whole point is to never believe that there's not something that can be improved on it. Science is never settled.
Including to yourself. You can't lie to yourself.
Correct. Science is never settled. And a number of times where, we go, well, this is settled science. No, it's not. Okay. And I'll tell you, it's a much bigger picture. Okay. Big Pharma, I call them Big Pharma. Okay. they own everything, right? There's a number of journals that have come out, or editors, past chief editors of journals. And we're not talking just, like some throwaway journals. We're talking New England Journal of Medicine, Lancet, British Medical Journal. Okay, some of the biggest journals in the world. Those are top 3 out of the top 4 that I just named. Journal of the American Medical Association is the other one. But chief editors in the last 20 years, at least 6 of them have come out and said that at least 50% of the science that's published is fake.
Come on.
Read their quotes.
It's
Marcia Angel is one of them that I can remember her name. There's a guy by the name of Richard something or other from the British Medical Journal who said the same thing. I just read an article about it just the other day. I'll send it to you because it just
I'm not surprised. I mean, the depth of corruption is stunning, and the fact that pretty much nothing's been done about it makes you wonder, how long this can all last. You've probably heard about 8 Sleep. Lots of people are talking about it. It is a company with one mission, improving your sleep. And it's changing the way people do that, the way they get a good night's rest. We just got word that their team is launching a new product. It's called the Pod 5. It's an original and innovative mattress cover plus a blanket that uses precision temperature control to regulate your body's sleep cycles and give you the perfect sleep, which really, really matters. They can range all the way from 55 degrees to 110 degrees, meaning that you're covered no matter what. It's like electric blanket to the next level, but also a cooling blanket. So it makes you sleep better. Temperature has a massive effect on the way you sleep. By the way, it also detects snoring. And then it adjusts your bed position to reduce or completely stop it. So there are a lot of ladies in America who are going to be grateful for this product. Everybody who works here will tell you, because they all use it, that there's no better way to be alert, productive, and happy than by sleeping well, and 8 Sleep really does help. Visit 8sleep.com/Tucker. Use the code Tucker to get $350 off your Pod 5 Ultra. If you don't like it, you return it within a month. That won't happen. We think you'll love it, but you can if you want. 8sleep.com/Tucker. Can I ask, and it's especially relevant to you, so the rest of us are just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You're a doctor in practice, clinical practice.
Right.
You're seeing patients, you're a surgeon, and you're a licensed physician. How do you get that guidance? How do you know that? Like, who tells you we just don't have treatment for this?
Well, the media was telling us we don't have treatment for it, right? And Fauci was telling us that there's no treatment for it. And just wait till you're turning, you turn blue in the face, you can't get up, you're, on death's doorstep, and call an ambulance, and then we'll treat you and we'll take care of you.
But is there a special doctor website you go to? Your neighbors are probably like, hey, you're a doctor. What should I do about this COVID
Well, that's
thing?
right. So people are calling me.
Yeah.
So I'm treating them the way I would have treated any other flu-like illness.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was doing. I have a lot of primary care experience. In addition to my plastic surgery, I was in the military for 3 years. So I took care of flight squadrons for 3 years as a primary care doc for pilots in a squadron. In addition to taking care of people in a clinic. And I moonlighted in emergency rooms at least twice a day or twice a week for, 12, 24-hour shifts. So I did that for 8 years. Okay. I was going back during my residency. I would leave for a weekend and I would go back to Meridian, Mississippi, and I would work from 6 p.m. on a Friday night until 10 a.m. on a Sunday. So I'd leave my training on Friday afternoon on the weekend that I was not on call, and I would go and I would work in an emergency room until 10 a.m. on Sunday and get on a flight and go back.
Damn.
And so I did that in order to supplement my income, but it also gave me a lot of experience, and it gave me, a lot more primary care experience than what we typically would have gotten out of, another surgery resident or plastic surgery resident. So I just fell back on my experience. But again, I hated microbiology in medical school. Okay. I despised it, didn't like it, looking at, bugs in a microscope and reading. And so I always relied on the pathologist to say, hey, this is your lab test. This is what we grew out of your microbiology sample. And then this is what it's sensitive to. And so I go, okay, well, you need that antibiotic. Here you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my microbiology experience through practice. Okay. But I had to go back and review all that stuff. So I did. And I got online because nothing was online back then when I was in school, but I was just able to get back on there and read articles and read journal articles and get on. I was pulling things from libraries, because I have privileges at a hospital, or I did then. I don't anymore, but I did then. So I had access to their library. So I would send them, hey, I want to see this article. Give me because I would read the abstract online. And I'll go, I want to read this article. So they would send me the article, and I'd usually get it within 12 to 24 hours. And so that's what I was doing. I mean, I did that throughout this whole time. And I realized that there were a lot of discrepancies, let's say, and a lot of lies that I was getting out of Fauci and Birx and all the people that were talking about it. Every once in a while, you would hear something, like a little bleep from Scott Atlas or Paul Alexander, who was in the White House at that time, who were kind of like they're on our side, I guess.
Yes.
Where they would say, hey, this really isn't what's happening. So, I mean, I use the analogy a lot with what they told us about COVID with what I had a lot of experience with at that time, and that was breast cancer. So the analogy to me about no treatment for this disease was analogous to somebody coming to me as a plastic surgeon, as breast cancer surgeon, saying, hey, you have a lady here who's got a small little nodule on her breast that we've either seen on mammogram or we've felt through a physical exam, but we're not going to do anything about that until it's a big fungating wound and it's eroded through her skin. Oh. And now you see, and you can feel lymph nodes in her groin, and we can do a CT scan and see, that she's got metastases to her brain and to her lungs. That was the analogy that I was using in explaining this to people when we're telling people that there's no treatment for it.
That's, when you put it that way, it's horrifying.
It is horrifying.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.